What is up, fellow nerds, and welcome to Not Your Status Quo's The Clone Wars Season 7, Episode 9 review. And we are still maintaining proper social distancing. This is the way.
This is the way.
And remember, there will be spoilers.
And remember, if you like what we do here at Not Your Status Quo, give this video a like, subscribe to our channel, and ring that bell to be notified of future videos.
And hey, while you're at it, do us a favor and share it with all your friends.
Episode 9, Old Friends Not Forgotten. This episode starts out with Commander Cody and his troops, desperate to get a little help as a blast zooms in on Commander Cody's position. And at the last second, Obi-Wan Kenobi jumps in, uses his lightsaber to deflect it, and they all take cover. Anakin shows up, having finished their battle. He seemed pretty cocky to me right here. I don't know.
Okay. I absolutely loved this. I loved seeing Anakin kind of stride up, looking all overconfident and everything, just like you said. I loved seeing him, basically sort of dodge a laser blast out of the way as if it meant nothing. And you know what? I'm going to keep saying it. I'm going to keep saying it until I'm blue in the face. I just love the fact that this is not the Anakin that we see from the movies. This is the Anakin that becomes Darth Vader. This is the general of the Clone Wars that Obi-Wan spoke about to Luke when he said, "Ah, yes, your father was a great general during the Clone Wars." I mean, this is the guy that we should have gotten in the original prequels.
Yeah, and I think that like in the prequels, they were playing a lot with like, all right, he's very emotional, and that's why he's going to turn to the dark side, because he is a very emotional person. And in the series, he's a lot more calculated, but he really only gets emotional when his friends or his family are involved. Then that pushes him over the edge. So this is doing a lot better showing that aspect of him, I think, than the movies, obviously.
Oh yeah, totally agree with you, Dave.
And what he says to Obi-Wan, I was kind of amazed by. He says, well, I could basically hide with you and let the people of the city suffer longer, or they could help me now and get out of here. So he walks up to surrender, and a tactical droid shows up, and Anakin
surrender.
Yeah. Wasn't he like telling him to, man, you guys have done a great job? And they're all like,
it was great. Oh, well, thank you.
And once that tactical droid shows up, he realizes right away that it's a trap, and Anakin just force pulls him and kind of beheads him with his lightsaber. And then you see the clone troopers kind of activate their jetpacks, Rex and his gang, and they come out from under that bridge, and they make pretty quick work of the droid army.
It's a shame that Anakin is never going to behead anyone ever again.
Right.
He took a liking to it.
A little bit.
And then Anakin is contacted on his comlink telling him that they have received contact from someone using his subspace frequency fulcrum, and Anakin thinks that it's Saw Gerrera. Shout out to older Clone Wars videos and Rogue One. And then Anakin is shocked to see it's Ahsoka on the holo projector. She tells him that it's been a while since they have spoken, and Bo-Katan is kind of standing there with them. So they decide to meet. Bo-Katan is requesting the Republic's help. Anakin wants to chat with Ahsoka, but she gets right down to business. And I thought this was something we've talked about a lot. It was really her showing maturity in front of her former masters, who she was always maybe a little giddy with, or, just trying to impress them. That Ahsoka's gone. This is, the new Ahsoka.
It almost makes me wonder if before she ended up hanging out with with Rafa, and if she did any more soul searching other than that, like how long was she on her own? Because we know that this series doesn't exactly go episode by episode in order and everything. So there's probably a couple of things that we just don't see. So it makes me wonder how much soul searching and how much time she actually spent finding herself in order to basically become exactly like what you're saying. She's more mature. She's definitely more sure of herself, and she's very straight to business.
And Ahsoka explains that Bo-Katan has been tracking Maul for several months, and they know that Maul is in the Mandalorian city of Sudari. And Bo-Katan explains that her forces lack the numbers needed for a siege, and is worried Maul will escape unless they do a complete lockdown of the city. Kenobi or Obi-Wan is worried that if Republic forces aid in the assault, that'll break the treaties that have been 100 years old, drawing the Republic into yet another war, which, I'm thinking, oh, it's all part of the Emperor's plan.
I love his response when Anakin goes, well, we're not done with our first war yet.
But yeah, Bo-Katan's like, what's another war? And then Anakin's like, well, maybe we should finish the first one.
Right. No, see, it's plural, Anakin. It's Star Wars.
He doesn't get that. That was his biggest downfall. But Obi-Wan, wants to advise the Jedi Council. And Bo-Katan is like, no, there's no time. Maul's influence on Mandalore is destroying all, the Mandalorians. She reminds him that Maul murdered their ruler, her sister, Satine. She asked, this was kind of a total kind of low move, asked Kenobi if Satine still means anything to her.
Yeah.
Obi-Wan's like, she did and still does. But like a Jedi, he doesn't let it affect what is the right decision.
I really like that they did that because to me it showed a little bit of a parallel between him and Anakin, where Anakin is definitely very emotional, and we end up seeing that becoming his ultimate downfall, other than the fact that he doesn't realize that there are several Star Wars going on. But the fact that he lets a lot of his emotions get to him, especially when it comes to like Padme. And Obi-Wan, as much as he was in love with the Queen of Mandalore, he isn't letting it get to him. And he even expressly says, well, I am not going to be clouded by my emotions. And
yeah, she was basically Obi-Wan's Padme, so he had some deep feelings there. And I like that parallel too. I like to see that, he can understand Anakin's feelings towards Padme and how everything. So that's why they're a good pair, because he understands him.
And then Anakin tells Ahsoka that he has a surprise for her and leads her through the ship. And the clones are saluting her, as they walk past. And Ahsoka's pretty surprised by this. But, he says, Anakin tells her loyalty means everything for the clones. And she basically showed them nothing but loyalty and help throughout the entire Clone Wars series. And then finally they go into a hangar where she's greeted by Captain Rex and his company, all with helmets painted with Ahsoka's face, which we saw in the trailer that was released, which I mean, if there's no bigger compliment that the clones could give somebody, I mean, that scene was just so well done. It's like, he's even saying something, Anakin said they started doing this as soon as they found out you were coming. And he apologizes for how crude it looks or how, rushed their paint job looks. And she's just like blown away.
I think Anakin and I think even the clones, I think they thought that Ahsoka was coming back. I think they thought that she was going to rejoin the council, because you almost see that seems to be Anakin's priority is, here, I want to show you something. Here, I've got a gift for you here. And that seems to be more what's on his mind. She, like we were saying, before, she wants to get to Mandalore, and she wants to take care of business. She wants to take out Maul, and that seems to be the only thing that she's focused on. But Anakin almost seems like, well, that's nice. We'll get to that maybe. We'll see what happens with that. But by the way, here's your awesome lightsabers.
It's almost like they switched roles. He is now almost a Padawan. He is trying so hard to basically get back her favor, so she'll maybe rejoin the Jedi Order. But,
and that feeds back into that about the emotions with the family, with Pamela, with Kat, and Ahsoka, and when his mom got killed. It's all about family and friends to him.
Yep. And Obi-Wan comes back into the hangar and tells Anakin and Rex to prepare the forces because they are jumping to hyperspace immediately. Rex starts preparing the men. Anakin asks if the attack on Mandalore was approved. And Obi-Wan's like, no, General Grievous has attacked the galactic, capital of Coruscant. And Anakin's like, ask about Palpatine. And Obi-Wan's like, Shakti has been sent to protect him, but the Jedi Master, Mace Windu, has lost contact with her. and reassures, Anakin that the fleet will be there in an hour. And this kind of sets, Ahsoka off a little bit too, where she's like, "Oh, you're not doing it for the people of Coruscant. You're doing it for the Chancellor." And this is where Obi-Wan says, "Be fair, Ahsoka." She says, "I didn't come here to be fair." And I was like, okay, she's definitely, that seasoned gray Jedi, Skywalker, whatever we want to call it now. And it was just so great to see that happen throughout all of these seasons of the Clone Wars.
It's
great character development.
It's about to go down.
Which, we talked about before this call, knowing that they're heading to Coruscant because Grievous is attacking and basically has captured Palpatine. That's the beginning of, Revenge of the Sith. So we're going to be getting what we talked about, quite a bit on these on some of these videos. We're going to see what's going on in other parts of the galaxy while Revenge of the Sith is going on. That's going to be pretty awesome.
Yeah, the overlapping timelines. That's pretty cool. One thing that did happen at the end of that scene, I don't know if you were going to get to it yet, but when he said that they were going to Coruscant, and they said, well, we'll just split the 501st and we'll send Ahsoka in as the commander. And she can't be the commander because she's not part of the Jedi anymore. And he promotes Rex to go be the commander and go with them. And she'll be just a consultant. And they turn around and they walk out of the hangar and boom, Rex is already there and he already knows his assignment. They didn't even have time to discuss that yet. I thought that was kind of funny. I don't know if he's got some sort of special force power where he had he had some link to his brain where he knew he was going to do it.
He knew that was on the table.
Yeah. Oh, it's just coming.
Yeah. And, it's funny because, Kenobi is like, or Obi-Wan's like, "Hey, may the force be with you." And Anakin's like, "Good luck," or whatever. And she goes, "We don't believe in luck." And he's like, "Good luck, Ahsoka."
I love that. Yeah. I absolutely love how they bring up the whole thing of luck. And he goes, "Well, good thing I taught you right."
That's right. Yeah. Yes. And since she's going to face Maul, he gives her, like David talked about earlier, a box containing new lightsabers, or her lightsabers, I should say. And he says he took care of them and that the lightsabers are good as new. And
possibly better.
Yeah, the blades are now blue. And, Anakin, like you said, says they're new, to which she smiles, and he tells her to capture Maul while he takes care of Grievous.
Oh, I love the comment that actually Obi-Wan made.
Yeah, me too.
Make sure you capture him. I've killed him once before. He doesn't stay dead.
Yes.
That was awesome. And then we see, Ahsoka and Bo-Katan ships, heading towards Mandalore, and there's, Mandalorians coming out to fight them, and they're going back and forth. And we actually see, Ahsoka. It's very Captain America from The Winter Soldier. "Hey, do you need a parachute?" "No, thanks." Where he's like, "Sorry, I forgot your jetpack." And she's like, "I don't need one." And she's like jumping around and, saving pilots that are, going down in gunships, and just totally being the Jedi that she absolutely is. And then, she lands and she's facing off against a bunch of Mandalorians. And then Bo-Katan shows up, and they kind of take care of the Maul's, his Mandalorians. And then Rex shows up, and he's like, "You beat me again."
Yeah.
I love that part.
Yeah, I did.
Oh, he says something like, "Nothing changes," I think, because she's like, "I beat you again." He's like, "Nothing changes."
Yeah.
And then even though they haven't encountered Maul yet, Bo-Katan wants Ahsoka and Rex that they can't, withstand a long siege. So she's going to go to the throne room. It's up to Ahsoka to find Maul. And then, she and her warriors take off, and Ahsoka tells Rex to support the docks to make sure that Maul doesn't escape. And then Ahsoka heads to the Undercity is because they hear that the clones had encountered something. And then in the throne room, Rook informs Almec that the Jedi was sighted entering the lower city. Almec says that this is just as their lord predicted. And then Bo-Katan and her warriors fight their way into the throne room and engage the guards in a gun battle. And Bo-Katan fights with Almec and ended up subduing him.
I like how so many of these battles or confrontations take place in throne rooms. Like that seems to be a constant in this series and in the Star Wars. Oh, well, they're just in the throne room, and they were talking in the throne room, and it's like it's just no big deal at this point.
It's the biggest room that they have.
The entire last arc, they were tortured and made deals in throne rooms. It was okay.
Well, in galaxies far, far away, their living rooms are just called throne rooms. It's not, it's just a different dialect.
Picture your room with a big throne in it, and that's what you got.
I do every night.
Obviously.
But, Bo-Katan then demands to know where Maul is. And Almec reports that she was never the politician that her sister was, and reveals that Maul wanted her to bring the Jedi all along, but she brought the wrong one. So, Bo-Katan tries to warn Ahsoka that she's walking into a trap, but only gets static because, Ahsoka's kind of underground at the time. And then we see Ahsoka and the clone troopers kind of walking through the sewer silently. However, the Maul Mandalorians are kind of waiting for them, and they fire an explosive like the rocket, the Boba Fett rocket at him, which knocks down Ahsoka when she deflects it into a wall. Then there's kind of this big battle. Ahsoka tells them to wait, but the clones kind of are killed by unseen forces. And then as Ahsoka rushes up to Vaughn and holds his hand, he apologizes to his commander before dying. And then Ahsoka finds herself surrounded by, Maul's warriors. And as she draws her lightsaber, Maul comes walking up and tells her that he was hoping for Kenobi, and asks her, what is she doing here as she draws her blades out. And that's where it ends. And I
thought it was pretty cool that it ended without even a theme. It was just like, this is a big moment,
So here's the thing. I cannot wait for the next episode. I'm really looking forward to it because that definitely ended on a cliffhanger. But here, I think we have a couple of takeaways. So we know that Maul survives, obviously, because we see him in Solo. We know that Ahsoka survives because we see her in Rebels. So, it almost makes me wonder, there must have been a draw, I assume. I'm guessing that's what we're going to get in the next episode. I really can't wait to see how this plays out because she's surrounded right now. We see that. She was spinning around with her lightsabers, and every single one of the tunnels, there were Mandalorians in them. And then the one that she was looking at, where it looked like there was nobody there, all of a sudden you see Maul walking up. So I am very curious how she's going to get out of this. And also, as a side note, we were talking about how at the same time, this is where Anakin and Obi-Wan are going to confront not Grievous. Who was it that they?
Oh, Dooku.
Dooku, yeah, they're gonna go confront Dooku to save Palpatine. Yeah, in a throne room, as you do. So I almost wonder if they're going to recreate that.
No, I don't think they will, only because it's been done in the movies. I mean, we're going to see what's happening, on the other side of the galaxy while that's going on.
But it could be done better.
It definitely could be done better.
It would be done better.
I'm envisioning after everything is all settled, they all come back, and Ahsoka goes, God, Anakin, why are you such a whiny bitch now?
Yeah, what happened to you, man?
Sand. There's so much of it. It's so coarse.
And
I remembered how much I hate it.
And who's this Padme anyway? No, just kidding.
No, it's Pamela.
Oh, Pamela, sorry.
And I noticed that when this episode started, it was 30 minutes long. I don't know if you guys noticed that when I started.
Oh yeah. I noticed it was a little bit longer,
which I thought was great.
It went by really quick though.
And I wonder if
it.
Yeah, no,
it didn't drag at all.
No, it flew right by, and I wonder if we're going to get a little bit more in each episode of this arc, because this is their swan song. This is their farewell. This is the end of the Clone Wars, and so far, episode 1 definitely lived up to the hype. We should probably review it now. I know we had a comment on our last video that they wished, we kind of talked about everything that happened, but never really gave it a review. So let's review this. Dave, You want to go first, or Doug?
Take it away.
All right.
I want to be
Okay,
last.
so as you guys know, I wasn't like a gigantic fan of the last arc. It had its good moments. It had, it was. I didn't care for the other two side characters. I love seeing Ahsoka again. She's one of my favorite characters. When she left Anakin, obviously I wasn't crying. You guys were crying. That's we can establish that. But this episode, I loved this episode. I wished that it was even longer. Like I wanted to see more. It was great. Even the moments where it didn't seem like there was that much happening, where it didn't seem like there was that much action, I was still just my eyes were glued to the screen. I loved this. It was great. I ended up watching it twice.
Yeah.
So you know what? I'm gonna give it a solid 9 out of 10.
Yeah, I could go with that. I'd say this was a 9.5. It was an excellent episode. And like you said, I mean, Ahsoka, she just, like you were saying earlier, she kind of reversed the roles with Anakin. She was like, all right, let's just get down to business. And I've always liked this character because she's, her incredible development arc has just been great. And now she's like, like Darth Vader says, now I am the master. She's kind of flipped positions with him. And every one of these characters, there was no soft spots from any of them, I don't think. I mean, Anakin was Anakin, Obi-Wan was Obi-Wan, Rex was Rex. There was no spot where you just like, he wouldn't do that or that wouldn't happen. It was just very solid writing. I really enjoyed this episode. I can't wait for the rest of them.
Yeah, I'm definitely with you guys. I've definitely, I was thinking about this. I definitely give it right now a 9.2 out of 10 because it is an incredible beginning to the Siege of Mandalore. I mean, they hit everything they needed to hit. Ahsoka's progression from Padawan to she would probably be a Jedi Master at this point. Well, probably Jedi Knight. They don't want to jump in front of Anakin. But just the way she deals with the other Jedi who she used to be, who were her masters, she doesn't have any time for small talk with Anakin. She, tells Obi-Wan, I didn't come here to be fair. We have a mission. And just the whole way, Anakin was, I got gifts for you and I'm doing all this stuff for you. And she was like, great, thanks. I appreciate it, but we really have something to do. And they just took this in the, exact right direction I think they needed to do. And now that we're seeing the parallels from Revenge of the Sith starting, I think we're going to get in some really interesting thing. We're probably going to see Order 66 being called out during one of these episodes. And I can't wait to see that from another perspective. Probably see how Ahsoka survived and made it to see her in Rebels and then see her in The Mandalorian season 2. I think this is the first episode in season 7 where right as I was done watching it, I was like, man, I need to watch that again. I can't wait to see it again. So I think that goes a long way. And, it may be a 9.2 now, but if it lives up, if the rest of the arc lives up to this one, I mean, it could be a 10 out of 10 by the time it's all wrapped up. Just, vintage Clone Wars. It was great.
I totally got to, I have to agree with you, Keith. Yeah. Seriously, this was really good. It had just the right mix of comedy, emotion, action. I mean, it was great from beginning to end. And yeah, they used up all that 30 minutes perfectly. Yeah. So I agree with you. If, the way, depending on how this arc goes, yeah, it could easily become a 10 out of 10.
And then, Filoni obviously is in charge of the show. And just to know that he's on the Mandalorian too, we got a lot more good quality stuff coming from the Star Wars team.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And man, I cannot wait. I cannot wait for the next season of the Mandalorian.
It's going to be good. But what did you guys all think? Let us know in the comments. We'd love to interact with you. And, not only will we see you next week for episode 10 review, but for those of you that don't know, Doug let us know yesterday, the final episode of this season is going to be dropping early on Monday, May the 4th. So we'll get episode 11 on Friday, May the 1st. And then we're going to be treated. We don't have to wait too long to get the series finale. So we got that going for us. But let us know.
It'll be on May the 4th be with you.
May the 4th be with you.